Amigos de Zoom Inferno, estamos aquí con Johannes de Tribulation, una banda que va a estar aquí en México el próximo mes de octubre con dos fechas. Primero abriéndole a Ghost en el Palacio de los Deportes y luego van a tener una fecha en solitario. Johannes, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm just doing some packing, doing a festival weekend that starts early. It starts, or we're flying tomorrow, but it starts on Wednesday. So it's 4 shows. So have to figure out how many shirts to bring.
I guess well, it was very, very good shows, right?
Yeah, I mean this is the last couple of shows for this summer, I would say, and then of course we're going to Mexico, as you of course know. But yeah, last one for the summers.
Well, tell me what's new with Tribulation, because at the beginning of the year you released an EP named Hamertia, and your most recent album was released almost 3 years ago. Do you already have plans to work on something new? What's new with you?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's always a new album in sight, and at the moment it's gonna be hopefully recorded early next year, 2024. So songs are being written as we speak. Yeah, and it's gonna be, we always tend to release every third year, so I think it's gonna be every third year this time as well, if I calculated right.
Very, very calculated. You tell me, you did a cover for Blue Oyster Cult. It's a great cover, by the way. What other bands would you like to cover for future works?
Well, I don't know. Covers is always hard, I would say. It's not my favorite thing to do, but once you get into it, it's kind of fun when you do it. But the thought of making a cover is always tricky, because it's always the the fact that you need to at least not be worse than the original song. You have to do something else with it. You have to make it better, or make it as good as the original, I'd say. So that's why I hate covers, I guess. There's a risk you might just slaughter it, and everyone will like, oh man, why did they do that? So but yeah, I mean, Blue Oyster Cult has been on the topic when we've spoken about covers before. We always love the song Nosferatu from the Spectres album, and that would be very suiting. But that's tending to be a bit too hard. Then we're probably gonna slaughter it and yeah, make it bad. And just because of the structure, and it's a lot of piano and stuff in there. So this song felt way easier to do, but at the same time has that Tribulation vibe to it, I'd say.
Your sound as Tribulation has changed over the years, but without much experimentation. Let's just say you modernize yourself. How open are you to trying new things, or are you more conservative about your sound?
No, I mean we're always up for changing stuff around and see where the music takes us. Basically, that's always been the goal with being a musician. It's every album has to have some kind of evolution to it for ourselves, just to be, you know, still doing this after 20 years. It's but I don't know how far or how unfar we would go, but uh, as far as we've gone now, I think there's always been at least a bit of evolution on every album. But of course, there's other elements you can try out. Clean vocals, for example. So that's an area we might look into, for example. And the sound has turned more and more gothic over the years for every album, I'd say, and that's still a strong inspiration. I mean, it's gonna sound gothic at least. We're not gonna do something super crazy and go back to early death metal sound, you know.
Of course, and about your lyrics, your songs talks about the occult things, about mythology, a topic that a few years ago was almost taboo for a lot of countries, but now it seems to be part of normal culture, and a
Yeah.
lot of people are fans of these topics and do it in public. What do you think about this?
No, it's great. I don't know. In Sweden, it's kind of common, I'd say. The kind of lyric themes we use and like. It's a lot of Norse mythology. I mean, from the Scandinavian parts usually,
Yes, of
and
course.
creatures from the woods, and bands like Dissection, for example. It's a great inspiration. And yeah, I don't think it's that controversial actually. It's quite common for Swedish bands at least. But of course, we tend to be more, more mysterious and profoundly in love with the character Dracula, of course. So a lot of themes surrounding the yeah, the world of Nosferatu.
And talking about Sweden, Sweden has always been a cradle of rock bands, a lot of rock bands, and it seems that it has been increased in the recent years. Do you consider that metal is already an integral part of Swedish culture?
I wouldn't say it's gone that far. It's still a subgenre, I'd say. You never see heavy metal or hard rock, or sometimes you do, but on television, for example, like the national broadcasts, it's rarely any heavy metal stuff. It's you know it's more in the underground. It's super big in the underground, but this for the Swedish common people, they don't know anything about genres like death metal or thrash metal or black metal. They just put it all together and call it heavy metal or hard rock, I guess. But it's different generations. I mean, the younger people probably know more than people 20 years back. They probably catch up a bit more. I hope.
Let's go. Well, as we said in the beginning, you will be in Mexico in a couple months. You will be here with Ghost, but are very theatrical bands. How do you
Mm.
think Ghost fans will receive you? Speaking of the clear musical difference between you two.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ghost fans, there's so many now. So I guess mainstream. But I think we, in an artistic way, fit very well together. I mean, we both wear makeup. We like to put on a show. Of course, they have a huge show. I mean, that's of course a dream for Tribulation one day to afford making a bigger show. But yeah, musically, I think we come from the same area or same kind of sound. Uh, Ghost and Tribulation, so it's a lot of we think the same, I'd say, and I think people kind of think it's a good combination because they see that this is an opening act that puts on a show and lives for the show and the music, and so are Ghost. So I think it's gonna be good. And we toured and done shows with them before, so it's just gonna be fun times, especially playing in Mexico with them. It's gonna be
Yeah.
huge.
And you also will have a solo show just for you and your fans. What do you enjoy the most? The big arenas, the more intimate shows just for your fans, or
Mm,
with this opportunity to be with Ghost, and maybe more people will know you. What do you enjoy the
yeah, good question. I mean, boring answer is both, but if I really have to choose one, it's I mean, our own show is our own show, so that's people are gonna show up for us. And on the Ghost show, to be honest, we have no idea how many are showing up for Tribulation. Hopefully, they show up for both bands. Uh, but yeah, I mean, putting on a longer set is also uh, funnier, I'd say. I mean, it's you get into the show way more than I can't remember now. I think we have an hour with Ghost, maybe. So that's quite long, actually. But on our own show, we're gonna play probably 80, 90 minutes, I'd say. But yeah, it's hard to choose. I'd say for this weekend with Ghost, the big one, the arena gig with Ghost, that's gonna be most fun. Just because of the people. There's gonna be so much people.
well, you will find almost 18,000 people there, something like.
Yeah,
It's a very, very huge audience for you. I think
yeah,
they will discover a very good band like Tribulation.
hopefully, yeah.
Well, you have been in the business for a couple of decades now. Uh, being sincere, do you still see a future for it as metal band? Do you think that the new bands that have emerged and those that will be made in the futures have hope of being able to make a living for making music?
Well, I really hope so. But I have to say yeah, as with the Swedes and the heavy metal, it's not so big. And me and my buddies usually talk about the arena death. We call it the death of the heavy metal arena bands. And that's probably gonna happen, when Iron Maiden, Kiss, and AC/DC and all those guys are really retiring for real. That is gonna be, yeah, Ghost, of course, they can pull it off. They fill arenas, but there's so many from that generation. Metallica, Judas Priest. I can go on, but that generation is gonna retire soon-ish. So that's a bit worrying. What's gonna take over? Is the heavy metal gonna be out of the arenas, or are bands like Ghost gonna take over? Maybe, I don't know, Amon and Marth, or I don't know, Behemoth. That's still in the game, but it's hard to say. I really hope the heavy metal community survives. But yeah, it is a lot of work, especially for a band in Tribulation size. It's super hard. We're not the pub band that plays in front of 30 people. We're not super huge in every city. We don't play for 1,000 in every city, but we're somewhere in between, and it makes it very hard. It's almost like we could survive on it, but usually we have to do something else to pay the rent as well. So, but that's we still have the ambition, and we've done this for a couple of decades, as you said, and this is my life. I'm not gonna quit now. You know, I'm gonna do this until I die, I guess.
Thank you, Johannes, for your time. Really, really want to see you here in Mexico. You're a great band, and a lot of people should see you in Ghost shows and your solo show.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
hopefully our own show will also sell out. Let's see.
Yeah,
Crossing fingers.
yes.